Hey, welcome back to Dillys Mobile. Today I wanted to do just a quick business/customer tip. This is one that I deal with a lot, being a single operator owner mobile mechanic service. Anyway, in summary, if a customer can't respect your time, there's no need for you to respect their time. Now, I'm not saying go out and be completely just a jerk about it, but when you say you're busy, then you're busy, and the customer needs to recognize that and be respectful of your time as well as you being respectful of theirs. Sorry. So here's the scenario.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
I got to the point with my business that I was so backed up that most businesses will say, well, it's time to raise your rates. I don't always believe that's necessarily true, depending on the goals of your business. Yes, more money is great. No, ripping people off is not. So I reduced the number of customers I work with. And then also to help with time management, I created on my website the ability for customers to go on and book appointments. They can book appointments for common things like, hey, my check engine light's on. Hey, I need an oil change. Hey, I need any number of things. There's a few preset, pretty common things that I base it on. And then I also have it by time slot window, every half an hour increment. So half, 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, so on, all the way up to an 8-hour window. Anything over that, it says, you're going to have to talk to me because that's too big of a deal. And we would work with it from there. So the reason I bring this up is I just got done with a customer. He texted me, which is also always appreciated. I don't like taking phone calls, but he did try to call me first. Phone calls in the middle of doing a job is not a good scenario. We'll talk about that in another video. So he texted me, said, hey, I need you to come look at my truck right away, as soon as possible, urgent, yada, yada, yada. And I looked at my calendar and I says, well, initially I said, you need to go on my website and book an appointment. And he says, I just need you to come scan codes. My truck, it runs but doesn't run, so I can't get to shop, this and that and the other. So I looked at my calendar and I says, okay, look, I'm going to be wrapping up with this appointment a little early. I'm generally in the area. I can swing by. We'll scan the codes, see if we can figure out what we need to do to create a game plan, and we'll go from there. So I get there and do the scan, find out it's not too big. It's a couple of camshaft sensors, pretty easy repair, and should take probably an hour. Assuming there's no unforeseen stuff. This is basically going off just check engine data. We get it all figured out. I'm like, hey, this is what it is. This is about how much it's going to cost. This is how long it's going to take. And then in response, it wasn't, okay, when can we do this? Or let's go ahead and get it on the schedule so that we can get it done. It was, can you do it today? And, oh, I found the part somewhere else cheaper. Granted, I was just using my service data that pulls up dealership prices. And I'm like, okay, that's possible. I would need more time to give you a more accurate quote on parts because I'm just here on my way to my next appointment. And then he kept pushing. Hey, can you do it today? Can you do it today? Can you do it today? And I'm like, no, you looked at my calendar. I am booked. My day is full. If anything, I'm overbooked still because I kind of threw one in at the end of the day when I shouldn't have. I am full. Now, the reason this is important to me is because I do try to be as accommodating as possible to customers in the scenarios. I understand if you have only one vehicle and you have a job, or you have only one vehicle and you have kids and you have obligations and things like that you have to tend to. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you can get taken care of as fast as possible, as soon as possible. But you also have to recognize that I am only one person. If you want my services because you have my reputation, you know what I'm doing, then you're going to have to be a little accommodating back to me. So from a customer's point of view, if a mechanic shop says they're full and you don't believe them, well, maybe you don't trust your mechanic, you should go somewhere else. If a mechanic says they're full and you trust your mechanic, they're going to do what they can to get you in. You need to be respectful of that too. Simple as that. And I have found, from my experience, I have found that using the online booking works wonderful. All of the customers who I've really enjoyed working for from all age groups, all demographics. It has nothing to do with that. They're all willing to use a link to go on and book an appointment. And the nice part is it sends them reminders, it sends me reminders, everything's all above board. The ones that I find I don't like working for and haven't in the past, that they are pushy and they're not respectful of time and things like that, those are the ones that aren't going to use your system. And in my scenario, and my bad, I didn't have this set up from the beginning of my business. So therefore, I do have some of those customers who are having a hard time transitioning. And so every time they call, text, whatever, I try and redirect them. Hey, you got to go here. Hey, you got to go here. Hey, you got to go here. In hopes to motivate it that way. And, again, I try to be understanding, but that's something that they need to be aware of. If a business is trying to push something that way, it's for a reason. And most of the time, it's for their benefit. And I tell them, if you send me a text and say, hey, when can I get in? And I'm working on a job, I'm not going to respond. If it's something I've got to go look at my calendar and be like, can I squeeze it in? Where's it at? Can I get parts? This and that, the other. I may not respond for 2 or 3 days to that because I've got a full schedule already and I'm already trying to accommodate the customers who have gone through this process. Whereas if they just know, hey, I need an oil change, they can go on my website, say, I need an oil change. This is the day I need. Perfect. Book it. It's done. Then I can go in at the end of the day or whatever, and I see the notification. I can create the ticket, make sure I have inventory, and it's done. So, yeah, a little bit of a frustration vent, I know, but it is good information to understand, both as a customer and as a business owner. Be respectful of each other's time, because we're in a world where everything's moving so fast. Time's a commodity that we don't get back. And I don't know about you, but for me, I work to make a living. I don't work to, it's not my life. I don't want to work so hard making a living that I forget to live my life. It's important to still have time. It's important to still have a life outside of work. Even if you like working on stuff, take some time off with the family. Take some time off and go on vacation, whatever, depending on whatever your situation is. Take some time to yourself to do things other than work, or you will burn out. I know from experience, and it's not fun. And this is advice people gave me, and I still didn't listen. So, go figure.
A few moments later.
Another thing I want to point out is that some people can be pretty impatient. We're in an age of technology, so the technology can make things easier, but there's also that I want everything now mentality. The biggest response to that is you pay for it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. A lot of people are like, hey, I want my car looked at now. Okay, great. Take it to one of those bigger shops that have more overhead. The reason they have more overhead is so that they can be more accommodating. If I had a shop and I had 15 guys sitting around waiting, I could do it. But the cost of having a big shop and 15 guys are standing around waiting is going to be in there. So I guess there is always that aspect. But as a people, I think we've gotten too concerned about the here and now for us and we've quit thinking about the here and now for everyone else, which is a big flaw because, yes, there are emergencies. The emergency shouldn't be that you had put off a repair so long that now it's an emergency. The emergency should be everything was working fine and everything fell apart all at once. And even then, we need to be prepared for emergencies. We need to know that emergencies happen and what are we going to do about it? How can we help ourselves in the case of an emergency? I know sometimes there's a lot of free services that a lot of people don't take advantage of for whatever reason. But like check engine light comes on. That's not an emergency unless the car is obviously doing something wrong or there's other lights on like your oil light or whatever. If it's just that light is on, you can stop past any O'Reilly's, any AutoZone, I think even a lot of Napas or pretty much any parts place that's designed to work around retail customers, not wholesale customers, will have a check engine light service where they'll come out and plug in a computer or they'll hand you a computer and say, go plug it in. Key thing with that is not always go off the data. I know AutoZone's data, I've watched a couple of their reports, and they're not always very good as far as this is what the repair is, but it'll pull the code, and the code can tell you what it is, and you can look it up specific to your vehicle and get a little bit better idea. So, yeah, be aware that if you want something now, you can pay for it now. I do have and have had a couple of times where customers have said, I need this today. I have to have this done today. And I knew it was that they had backed themselves into the corner. They didn't take care of it when they should have, or whatever. And I know for me, if I have to go outside of my regular service hours intentionally, now if I'm doing a repair and it took me a little longer than I anticipated, that's fine. But if I have a customer that's like, your day's booked, I need you to still come, I need to still be taken care of today, that means I'm going after hours. I don't do time and a half. Time and a half doesn't make a lot of sense for me because I don't need it. For me, if I have to go after hours, it's double time. So, there you go. If you're in that position, that's where it is. Now, granted, some of my customers, they'll be like, hey, this is what's happening, and I'll be like, hey, I can stop by on my way home after hours. I'll just check it real quick, and we'll call it a day, whatever. But yeah, be aware of that. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Be sure to comment. Tell me what your thoughts are. What kind of experiences have you had with both really respectful customers that work with you and customers that maybe don't? And maybe we can come up with even better solutions. But in the meantime, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any more, and we'll see you next time.